Good morning everybody, my name is Crystal. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is Thursday. The weather, it's been raining overnight, so the ground's all wet. It's fairly hot still inside the flat, 24 degrees. So I've got up, ready for the day. It's a bit murky, so there's no sunshine. It's just like the ground is wet, it's been raining, it's overcast. So we're now into nearly August, aren't we? Alexa, what's the date today?
Today is Thursday, the 31st of July.
Yeah, we're nearly into August. It's the 31st of July. So there we go. No sun today, no sunbathing weather. So I got up this morning and I've made myself a cup of herbal tea. I've fed my pets and I'm just getting ready for the day. I woke up to the sound of my Alexa going off and telling me what today was going to be like, and so I got up, got ready, and another day. Last night, well, before I went out to walk my dog, the sounds that were coming from next door was like wild animals running around, and no word of lie. But I can't understand why my microphone on my phone doesn't pick it up. So I'm going to try and get myself a microphone that picks up noises like that, because it's awful. It sounded like I had a herd of wild animals running up where I was trying to watch my telly, and eat my evening meal. So I'm sat here and I'm just sat down. I'm a woman on my own, and my dog Max hardly is no trouble at all. I mean, he alerts me when there's someone at my door, and that's natural. I can understand dogs barking, right? Don't get me wrong. I can understand dogs barking, but not excessively, like, on and on and on for hours. But I mean, when a dog barks, when someone knocks on the door, rings the bell, or they hear a loud noise, that they alert you to strangers or something going on. Right, so I was just sat down, and the guy upstairs, I told you he's been coming in between 3 and 3:30, and when he comes in, the noise dies down, because he thumps the ceiling. So he must hear the noise they are making next door. He thumps the ceiling. And then they basically go quiet. Yesterday, he didn't come in till about 7. He must have come because he must have come in after 7, because I went for a walk about 7. I took my dog for a walk about 7, so he didn't come in till later, and they were awful. It's I don't know. I've actually gone outside and I've observed it from across the road. It's like they're turning lights on and off, they're running around, the music's on, and they're just like a herd of wild animals. And what I don't understand is, if I was a parent and kids were just doing what they liked, running around, throwing things about, and God, it would drive me crazy. I know I've had 2 or 3 rings on my buzzer over the past couple of months, and the mother, I don't know whether she's got an illness or she just falls asleep, but they've told me their mum's asleep. Can I let them in? Don't know what's going on there. It's not my business, but I had to go out into the hallway twice because it was making my blood boil. Do you know what I mean? no, it's not just children playing. It was awful. It sounded like they were thrashing things against the wall, running up against their front door, which is very next to mine. I wondered what the hell was going on. And then I was getting these messages on my TikTok from black men. And they're a black family next door, from black males. And they ask you how you are, and this racket starts. This terrible racket starts. How are you feeling today? And they start making a racket next door. And then I had that message from someone called Omo Mummy. OMOMUMMY. And this racket is horrendous. I need evidence. I need to record it. So I need to get a microphone that picks it up. It's terrible. And they went down to the bin store last night they went down to the bin store when I was in bed. So I go to bed between, I don't know, it varies, but I can't go to bed earlier than 11 because they are awake next door, right? Young kids as well. So they're awake right up until sometimes 2 in the morning. But I was tired and I thought, fuck it. So I put earplugs in my ears and I thought, yeah, you carry on. You do what you've got to do. And thumping in the bin store late at night, bang, 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 wallop. And I thought, fuck. They want you to get cross. They want you to lose your temper. Now, I'm not saying it's similar to Tommy Robinson, but Tommy Robinson had an altercation with somebody at St Pancras railway station. And something these people do, something these gangstalkers and people that want to stop you from doing things will send people like drunks and alcoholics to cause trouble, right? It's a similar thing that there's homeless on the field in tents, and when I was walking on the field, they try and provoke. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Do you know what I mean? Sirens. Wait a minute, there's sirens. So Tommy Robinson is planning a march on September the 13th. He's planning a march. So obviously someone's trying to stop him from doing that. That's what I think, because we're not far away off from September the 13th. So he was going to get a train. Basically, there was a man that started harassing him and trying to start a fight with him, and he has had death threats. He's you know, he doesn't want people coming up to him and coming near him and threatening violence. So he punched the man. He punched him, and he punched him out and knocked him out. And he, there's stories saying that he's fled. He's got on a plane and he's fled. I don't know what's going on. And you've got this video on YouTube seeing the man led on the floor, and Tommy trying to explain to people that he told this guy 5 times to keep away from him. He told him 5 times, like, keep away, and the guy still persisted. So he punched him, but unfortunately he knocked him out. So people handle things in different ways, right? And a man is different to a woman. The way a woman deals with things is a different way to a man, right? Now, I can get triggered by these nuisances, these people that have been sent to stop what you're doing. And yes, you get triggered. Me personally, I don't know what happened. I don't know the circumstances, so I can't say who was right and who was wrong. I've just seen videos on YouTube of Tommy Robinson saying I told him 5 times, five, to keep away from me, you know. So he punched him. Me personally, I wouldn't have used. The only reason I would use um, violence is if it was in self-defense. So if this guy was coming after Tommy with violence and he used his fist in self-defense, I can understand it. Me personally, I wouldn't use violence, only in self-defense. If someone's threatening your life, yeah, I don't know the circumstances. In the past, I've got triggered, and yeah, you do things on the spur of the moment, and you can't go back. You've done them. So they try and provoke me. They call me names. They take the piss out of my looks. They call me gay. They're trying to get a reaction out of you. I'm trying to I'm trying to tell my story in my own certain way, and I'm trying to get justice for me. And they don't want me to tell my story, so they'll give my story to someone in a newspaper, on a podcast, on the telly, and I'm not allowed to tell people what happened to me. And if I start talking in my flat out loud about things, they get agitated outside, and I know they're spying in my flat. I know they can hear me, these gang stalkers, these pieces of shit that are covering up stuff. So I know what they're doing, and it's obviously elites and high up, because there's no way, somebody commits a crime, they go to prison. But in the case where I reported people for doing things to me and my children, they didn't go to jail. They're still wandering about now today. Some of them. Obviously, my father committed crimes against me, and he was let off by police. He wasn't even arrested or interviewed, and they allowed him to continue to abuse me afterwards, after I reported it, which is disgusting. Police corruption and cover-ups, obviously instigated by people high up, and it's affected me, it's affected my childhood, it's affected me growing up, jobs, relationships, and they won't apologise. They're just disgusting. So Tommy is one of these people that's trying to fight for this country, and they're trying to stop him talking. So it was probably a setup, getting this drunk person to have an altercation with him and possibly put Tommy Robinson back in jail. Now, I know what he's going through because I've been through it myself, right? Fortunately for me, they tried to put me in prison for me fighting for my rights, and I spent 18 hours in a cell, but there's no evidence. Every time they try and put me away, there's no evidence. There's no evidence that I've done anything wrong. Now, you have to have concrete evidence that someone's done something wrong. You can't just put them in prison because you don't like them, or they've found out what you're doing and you're trying to stop the truth, like the corrupt police, right? So they failed. There's no evidence. I've done nothing wrong. They've got no proof of anything. It's hearsay. It's yeah. I was just stitched up a bit like Tommy Robinson, and nearly got stitched up there. But Tommy Robinson's not stupid, and he's got so many followers. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, this goes on. They set up things to try and get you in prison. They know your mind, what's going on, and that's it. You've just got to be careful. Me, I keep away from people. You've seen me. I don't even let them get that close to me. I won't let them get that close to me. And when I normally go out to the seaside or something, I'm with somebody, so there's a witness, and they don't want witnesses, so they will keep back. So I keep away from people because that will happen to me. And how do I know when I've had men meet me off of dating sites? They've not been sent by someone, including exes, to try and frame me or pin something on me or do something to me. So I keep myself to myself, and that's the way it's going to be. That is the way now it's going to be, because I can't trust anybody, and I've got proof that I can't trust anybody, and I've got proof that someone is listening to what I'm saying in this flat. I've got concrete proof. And because the police are corrupt, they won't come out and look at the evidence. They won't listen to it. They've been told not to by somebody. I don't know who it is. I have concrete evidence that this flat is being spied on and listened to. Absolutely. And it's disgusting. And my worry is that they're doing it to women with kids. They're doing it to women with children. Which is wrong, isn't it? That is wrong. Of course it's wrong. They don't want my photographs. They don't want my videos. They don't want to listen to the evidence. Harry, Max, they don't want to listen because they know that it will reveal the truth. There's so many links to so many people, and you know the subliminal threats that, you know, the Royal Mail van that looks like a hearse that comes down past the road near my flat. That went in 2008. In 2008, it was hearses. They would send, you know, maybe it's natural to have maybe one or two hearses over a period of months or years. They would send a hearse down the road almost every day where I lived in my flat in Gloucestershire, my house. They'd send a hearse down the road almost every day when I was walking with my kids to school. I knew the house was bugged right back then. I knew it was. And that I was living with my children on and off. It's disgusting what they've got away with, but they won't admit it. They're just hiding it because it involves someone high up. That's what I believe. So I just have to live my day just walking around knowing I'll never get justice and an apology for what they've done to me. And it's infuriating as well as upsetting. It's infuriating. I'm really angry. Trying to label someone mad so they can continue with their corruption, including incest and paedophilia. And it just doesn't involve Great Britain. It's worldwide. A worldwide paedophile ring. That's what I believe. Anyway, that's enough of that. I hope everybody has a great day today. I just gonna get on with my bits and pieces. I'm gonna tackle the washing up. It's a bit too wet to put washing out, but I'll just keep carrying on. Take Max for a walk, and whoever thinks, you know, that I'm a little kid, and these silly vans that appear and people dressed in silly clothing and the gangstalking a carry on. They know I know, but they still do it. They won't piss off. They're like irritating wasps. Like, go away, leave me alone, find something else to do. I'm just gonna get myself back together, basically. Listening to my mother's phone calls makes me pissed off. I don't want to do that. It starts to become a game and they think it's funny to rattle you, piss you off and giggle at what's not funny. So they're childish and I'm not. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning, and happy birthday to Harry Potter. The character's birth date is the 31st of July 1980. If you fancy putting your Wizarding World knowledge to the test, ask me to play the Harry Potter quiz.
Alexa, what's the time, please?
It's 8:33 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today?
It's Thursday, the 31st of July.
Alexa, what's the weather outlook?
Right now in Rochester, it's 16 degrees Celsius with showers. Today's forecast has rainy weather, with a high of 20 degrees and a low of 13 degrees. Also, there's a yellow warning for thunderstorms in effect on Thursday, the 31st of July from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
Knock knock. Who's there? Butter. Butter who? Butter, open the door, it's getting toasty out here.
Alexa, which celebrity was born on this day?
Celebrities born on the 31st of July include J.K. Rowling, Dean Cain, Mark Cuban, Wunmi Mosaku, and Wesley Snipes.
Alexa, how old is Wesley Snipes?
Wesley Snipes is 63 years old.
Wesley Snipes played Blade, the vampire. I love watching that film. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Today, Heathrow is preparing to unveil its long-awaited plan for a third runway. It's expected to cost up to £60 billion, with a section of the M25 diverted through a tunnel underneath the site. LBC weather, heavy thundery showers across the south this morning, quite cloudy elsewhere, a high of 25 degrees.
LBC.
Buying a home on a holiday park was the retreat you always wanted, but then came unexpected.
So guys, we've just got the adverts on the news. So some of the things that they do to freak you out, yeah? To freak you out, to make you scared. They repeat what you're saying. So if I say something like, I'm going to Gravesend tomorrow, on the radio, on the television, or outside, they will say, oh, I'm going to Gravesend tomorrow. Or they'll mimic what you're saying on the radio. Oh, you're going to Gravesend tomorrow, are you, Harry? That is how they freak you out. I know they're listening. But sometimes when you're feeling down, depressed and a bit fragile, it gets to you. I know what they're doing. And they've been doing it at my old flat, in the safe house flat I was living in Gloucestershire, and they'd also mimic what you're doing. So if I put my hair in a towel, I noticed this in Gloucestershire, and they tried to convince me I was going mad. And now I know I'm not, and other people experience gangstalking. I know I'm not crazy. So basically, when I was in my safe house flat, I put my hair in a towel. A lot of women do that. They wash their hair and then they put it up in a towel. So one day, I'd wash my hair, I'd put it up in a towel, then I dried it, and then I looked outside my front door, and the neighbour 2 doors down was stood leaning on her gate, and she had her hair in a white towel, like I had just done. I was a lot active and fitter when I was in my 30s and 40s, and I used to do roly-polies on the floor. Like, you know what roly-polies are when you're a kid. You put your head on the floor and you roll over. So I did a roly-poly in my flat. Then I took my kids out to the park, and these kids were roly-polying all over the field on the grass. I thought, oh my God, that's weird. I've just done that in my flat. Oh, that's weird. I've just done that in my flat. And then I realised that was my phone bugged, because my husband made a phone call to me. My ex-husband made a phone call to me. And he rang the phone and he repeated every word I'd said. The phone was down, the receiver was down, and then the phone rang and he picked up the phone and he went, I heard what you just said. I said, well, how could you possibly hear what I was saying, because the phone was down? I don't know, he said, I could hear everything you said to the kids. I said, well, how? Because the receiver was down. I've just picked it up. It was making the burring noise. How did you hear what I was saying to the children? So they've been spying on me for a long time. And it ties in with the crappy things my mother's been saying over the years. My mother, Jennifer. Oh, they've been observing me. Yes, but it's not observing you for the good, is it? They're not observing me like, oh, if I was in danger, they'd help. Because I nearly died up in Gloucestershire and no one came to help me. So I firmly believe my mother's got something to do with this conspiracy and cover-up. Because she keeps saying, oh, people are observing me, they're hearing what I'm saying, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and it's happening to me. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Magic money tree, Nigel Farage. Where are you going to pay for it? You cannot just keep saying that you are going to, scrap net zero, scrap HS2, and that we're going to be able to find the money for everything. He cannot announce new policy after new policy after new policy without actually saying how it's going to get paid for. We are living in a world where politicians repeatedly are making fantasy promises, and I really don't feel like it's a helpful thing for him to keep buying into that narrative.
Well, just lastly, particularly when you point out the pain they went through over the winter fuel payments, let me just get this right. They've got to go 100 times. They would have to go 100 times more than the winter fuel payment.
Exactly.
It's a lot of money to find.
It was just deflect on those questions. What about George Osborne? What about the public finances? If you want to be in government, you need to come up with your own credible plan for the economics and the finances, and I don't think that Nigel Farage has got it.
LBC's political editor Natasha Clark reporting. Let's stay with policing matters. And Britain's biggest police force, the Met, or Metropolitan in London, is to more than double its use of facial recognition cameras, up to 10 deployments a week. Explained in part, Commissioner of the Met, Sir Mark Rowley, telling LBC.
We're investing further in facial recognition so we can do more operations that drag wanted offenders off the street. Regardless of being in tough times, we're going to put officers and time where it matters most.
Let's turn to Fraser Samson, who's a professor, former National Biometrics and Surveillance Camera Commissioner, serving as recently as 2023. Also served as a police officer for nearly 2 decades, Professor of Governance and National Security at Sheffield Hallam University. What level of nervousness should there be about this, or none whatsoever? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. The nervousness, I think, is probably to be taken for granted, because this is still very new technology. It's not had the best passage since its first introduction at Notting Hill in 2016. Around the world, police forces have experimented with it, some of them very clumsily, and they're still facing some of the backlash from it. So that would be any nervousness from the police side. Nervousness from those on the other side of the camera, it probably shouldn't really be about the technology itself anymore. This isn't about the technology anymore. The tech is here. It has evolved, if you forgive the pun, beyond recognition. But have the police evolved with it? That's the acid test. And to me, it's for the police to prove that they have. And so the questions that I would encourage people to be asking of their police and their police chiefs is, what do we want them to do with this technology? Because it's available and it's here. What do we not want them to do? And what are we worried about what they might do with it, rather than shouldn't they? Because I think that ship sailed a while ago.
Professor, you mentioned that other attempts at implementation have been clumsily managed. In what way were they clumsy? What went wrong?
Oh, you had police forces that were using algorithms designed to predict the aftershock of earthquakes and purporting to use them to predict criminality amongst individuals. I mean, it's a pity they didn't use it to predict the backlash they'd have got, because it didn't work. It was never going to work, and it set people back in terms of trust and confidence for some of this stuff. But I think one of the things that I still don't quite understand, and your listeners might not, is why are the police giving us 3 weeks' notice before deploying a new sophisticated tool to catch dangerous people on the loose in London? And the answer is because data protection and human rights policies require the police to give notice in order to let them opt out. Well, some of the people who want to opt out being seen by the cameras will be the very people that they're looking for. The best way for the police to demonstrate the potential of this tool is through results. And you're going to get more results if you're allowed to use it more widely.
Well, to that point, and as someone who served, you were in the job for nearly 20 years, how concerned should we be when people are saying there's not enough regulation?
There's always going to be a call for regulation. What you want to do is achieve the balance between people being able to have trust and confidence in the kit and the way it's going to be used, avoiding mission creep, which is a challenge for AI, because AI is by naturally, is always in a permanent beta state, unfortunately. But you don't want those rules to hamper the way in which it can then be used and deployed and avoid things. But I think very quickly we will get to a tipping point with some of this technology where the police are having to explain why they didn't use it on a particular occasion where it might have avoided a certain type of harm. We're not there yet, but we've got to get the balance. So all of this technology needs to be used, whichever part of the UK it's used in, to a standard the public would expect and in a way that maintains their trust and confidence. That's what I persuaded the last government to put in the Home Office Code of Practice on public space surveillance, and as far as I'm aware, it's still there.
Lastly, you referenced Notting Hill. How relevant is it that we are currently going through a wave of demonstrations about affairs in the Middle East, other demonstrations about eco affairs? That presumably is prompting widespread use of these cameras, Professor.
Well, it might be. There are some things that it's not going to be very, very good at, and purpose in this setting is absolutely key. So what are they using it for? Prevention, as in retail, is something that the technology excels at. But if you're using it to arrest and detain, that's a different purpose and focus. Prosecution or deportation, are you using it to gather intelligence about other activities that you fear may arise over the course of the next few weeks? And being absolutely clear about what those purposes are and how the technology will assist you as the police in those, it's got to be the starting point, and there shouldn't be any doubt about that before, let alone after you've used it.
Thanks for your time. Fraser Samson is Professor of Governance and National Security at Sheffield Hallam University, served as the National Biometrics and Surveillance Camera Commissioner as recently as 2023, and was a police officer for 19 years. Thanks for your input. We'll come back to our conversation concerning online safety. Then later in the hour, the true dream maker, or she ran the Fame Academy. Sylvia Young has died. Sadly, she gave us stars such as Amy Winehouse, Dua Lipa, Leona Lewis, Matt Smith, and even... I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Don't tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I want it, really, really, really want it. One of the Spice Girls. Just turned 8:46, LBC News headlines. Thomas Watts.
The Reform leader, Nigel Farage, has told Nick it is the wrong moment for the UK to recognise a Palestinian state. The Transport Secretary is to meet with the head of the air traffic control provider, NATS, after another major technical problem yesterday. And Heathrow is preparing to unveil its long-awaited plan for a third runway. LBC weather, heavy, thundery showers in the south, cloudy elsewhere, a high of 25 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Lucy Knowles. There are severe delays on the M25 due to an accident clockwise after junction 2 for the Darrenth interchange. Also on the M25, there are long delays anti-clockwise at junction 14 for Heathrow, with delays to Maple Cross. That's also because of an accident. In Beckton, the A117 Woolwich Manor Way is blocked both ways due to an accident between the Beckton flyover and the retail park. The A400 Junction Road in Tufnell Park is blocked. That's in both directions because of a fallen tree at Fortest Road. There are delays on the M40 more Heathrow spur road southbound before the tunnels into the terminals, and there are flight cancellations from Heathrow and Gatwick airports following a technical fault, and buses are running instead of trains on Southern between Horsham and Dorking.
The all-new LBC app. News your way. Download it for free from the App Store. This is LBC.
Hey Sainsbury's, any way you can save me a few...
Right, so I was just saying to you that they try and freak you out by knowing that they're listening to you and leaking it out on the radio outside. Yesterday I said that my son said to me that I was talking to my son about my ex-husband, and my son said to me that ship has long sailed. If you go into the last bit of the radio station, that guy speaking said that ship has long sailed. So they are listening to what I'm saying, and I think I'm getting proof.